So in about 6 weeks, Mikko Rantanen, a superstar in the NHL, megastar in the league, was blindsided in a trade from the Colorado Avalanche, a place where he was drafted and won a Stanley Cup, to the Carolina Hurricanes, and then flipped on trade deadline day from Carolina to Dallas because Mikko Rantanen didn't want to sign in Carolina. Unbelievable. Blockbuster deal. Two blockbuster deals. And there's so many questions, honestly, to be asked of the Carolina Hurricanes, and we'll get into that. But let's start with the trade from Carolina to Dallas, because now he goes to Dallas, who are already one of the best teams in the NHL, who now have become the team to beat, in my opinion, in the West. Because once Mikko Rantanen gets into the mix with that team, there's no better top nine in the NHL. And then that's not even talking about their defense, and that's not even talking about the top 10 goaltending that they have in Jake Ottinger. And this is also a team that's gone to back-to-back conference finals. So they've been right there for 2 straight years. Knocking on the door of the Stanley Cup finals, in comes Mikko Rantanen, a proven playoff performer. 81 games played in the playoffs, 101 points. His first taste of the playoffs came back in 2017-2018. Since that time, he is top 5 in most points in the playoffs. And look at the list. Look at the players. Look at the company that he's in. Kucherov is at the top of the list, obviously with Tampa Bay going to multiple Stanley Cup finals. McDavid, McKinnon, who was his line mate back in Colorado. 101 points in 81 games. This is a player that Dallas hasn't had in a very long time. This is a game breaker. This is the game breaker that they need and that most teams do need. And that's why Dallas decided to trade for him and also sign him. So if you don't know the details, here's the trade. Carolina gets a bunch of picks, including 2 first rounders, 2 conditional first rounders, 2 third rounders, and Logan Stankoven. So one thing Dallas was able to do that Carolina wasn't able to do when they first acquired Rantanen from Colorado was sign him to a deal. And that's exactly what Dallas did. 8 years, $96 million, $12 million per. He'll become the 4th highest paid player in the league and the highest paid winger in the league when that kicks in next season. It doesn't kick in this year because Rantanen is still in the final year of his deal. And in that trade from Colorado to Carolina, Chicago jumped in and picked up 50% of his salary. So Dallas only has Rantanen on the books for less than $5 million. It's not a bad deal. $4.625 million. There's no retention coming from Carolina over to Dallas. I thought there would be, and that maybe would have dropped his AAV this season to probably less than $3 million. And they have him for the next 8 seasons kicking in next year. Now, have a look at this top 9 that the Dallas Stars now have. Jason Robertson, Roope Hintz, Mikko Rantanen. If the expectation is for Rantanen to play on the top line, that's who he's going to be playing with. 2 studs. And don't forget, Rantanen is a stud in the playoffs, but he's a 100-point guy. He's a 50-goal scorer, or has been in the past, and he'll probably continue to be that for the Dallas Stars. Now look at the second line. Mason Marchment, Matt Duchene, Mikael Granlund is probably just a placeholder in there right now because Tyler Seguin, he's been out. He's going to come back, and him and Matt Duchene have developed a really good chemistry since Duchene moved over to the Dallas Stars. And look at that third line. Jamie Benn, Wyatt Johnson, probably Mikael Granlund. Dadonov could stay there as well. It doesn't really matter. But those are 3 straight lines you can throw out against any line in the NHL. So they have a solid top 9. Their defense is solid. Miro Heiskanen is injured right now, but he is coming back, and he's one of the best defensemen in the NHL, full stop. And that he's one of the reasons why Dallas has been so good over the past few seasons. And in net, you got Jake Ottinger, top 10 goalie in the league, maybe even a top 5 goalie in the league. When it comes to the playoffs, he's been a good goalie during the regular season. He's been solid. He was picked by the Americans in the 4 Nations. All the pieces are there for Dallas. And now they've added the game breaker. Like I said, they've been knocking on the door. Back-to-back conference finals, couldn't get over the line. But when you have a guy like Mikko Rantanen, who's done it before and continues to do it in the playoffs, and is a presence, a physical presence, 6'4", over 200 pounds, a winger who can rack up 100 points and dominate in the playoffs. I mean, Dallas, the team to beat in the West, maybe the team to beat in the NHL. I'm going to do a Stanley Cup tiers video maybe next week, and you bet your ass that the Dallas Stars are going to be the top of that tier 1 list because there really is no better at the moment. I cannot find a better team on paper and what I've seen on the ice. The only issue with the Dallas Stars really this season is that their power play hasn't been very good. I expect that to change. They have a bottom 5 power play in the league, Now add Mikko Rantanen, and with Seguin coming back, that's going to skyrocket. Their PK is already top 2 in the league. They're one of the top goal scoring teams in the league. They're one of the best defensive teams in the league. Just go check out the stats. They got it all. So the Dallas Stars bringing in Mikko Rantanen at the deadline was an unbelievable move. And got to watch out for them. If there's ever a team you want to back and sprinkle some money on, I know they're going to be one of the favorites, but the West goes through them. And if you're looking at other teams in the West, like say the Edmonton Oilers, do you really trust that goaltending with Stuart Skinner and Calvin Pickard? I know they believe Stan Bowman has come out and said that he believes that Stuart Skinner is going to figure out in the playoffs. At least he hopes that. That's a big ask. And I know they brought in some players, but I don't trust them. Are they going to get out of the first round? Are they going to beat the LA Kings again, who've gotten better this year? The Vegas Golden Knights, obviously a very good team. Do you trust Adin Hill that he can win another Stanley Cup for the Vegas Golden Knights? I'm not quite sure. So I think the West goes through Dallas. Okay, let's wrap this up with a thought on the Carolina Hurricanes. And let me pose this question. Besides Nico Harrison, who traded Luka Doncic to the Lakers from the Mavericks for Anthony Davis and pretty much destroyed that franchise. Besides him, is there another general manager in pro sports that dropped the ball more than Eric Tulsky, the GM of the Carolina Hurricanes? Answer that question, because I don't think there is. This is a guy who traded away Martin Nietzsche, who's having a very good season and playing even better now on the same line with Nathan McKinnon, because of course, you play with a guy like that, I mean, your numbers are just going to skyrocket. And you traded over Jack Drury as well for Mikko Rantanen without knowing if Mikko Rantanen wanted to stay with the Hurricanes or not. It was just a pure gamble that they're going to bring this guy in. Hopefully he'll sign an extension and he'll take us to the promised land. That obviously didn't happen because Rantanen didn't want to go there, didn't want to stay there, and it was proven by the deal that happened at the deadline. And then after that deal, the Carolina Hurricanes didn't have time to do anything else. So they're out Marty Nietzsche and they're out Mikko Rantanen. They don't have a true game breaker. Sebastian Aho is a fantastic player. He's going to have another 30-goal season. Maybe he's going to hit 90 points. But he's been there, and all these other players have been there for quite some time now. Really good team, defensively structured team, Rod Brindamore type of team, hard on the forecheck, tight in their own zone, can't get over the line because they don't have that game breaker. They were hoping Mikko Rantanen was going to be that guy. He's no longer there. They tried the same thing last season with Jake Gensel. He's no longer there. So now what? This seems like another lost season for the Carolina Hurricanes and something that maybe could have been avoided. You could give them some credit and give that management team some credit for having the balls to make that deal to bring Mikko Rantanen over. But now they're left with their hands in their pockets. And what now? I mean, entering free agency, listen, maybe they'll go after Mitch Marner if Mitch Marner decides to do that. And to be honest, the way Mitch Marner plays, I think he actually suits that organization and suits Rod Brindamore's style. I think he can go over there, win a bunch of Selkies, and potentially win a Stanley Cup with that team. But that's down the road. They're going to be in the playoffs this year. And is anyone really afraid of the Carolina Hurricanes? Okay, they're going to be a tough out, but they don't have that game breaker. They don't even have the goaltending. Kochetkov, Freddie Anderson, no one's afraid of that. They didn't make any upgrades. They didn't strengthen where they needed to strengthen. Their weaknesses are still their weaknesses, if not even more so, because they don't have a Gensel. They don't have a Rantanen. They have Aho, Seth Jarvis, good players, but just not enough to move the needle and get over the line. So the Carolina Hurricanes are in big trouble, but the Dallas Stars aren't. So here's my other question to wrap up this video. Who's the team to beat in the NHL? Because I think it's the Dallas Stars. If you think it's someone else, if you think there's another lineup in the league that can go toe-to-toe with the Dallas Stars, who now have Mikko Rantanen in their lineup, please let me know because I'm very curious. Thanks for watching.